I recommend the show.
Oh, I absolutely recommend the show. It is a really good sit. It's just 5 episodes. It's clean. It's fast.
Oh, I love that it was
in
5
chunks.
episodes. Yeah, a lot of shows should follow this format more. I think a lot of the Netflix shows overstayed their welcome for me, and they could have done with a shorter season. Do you recommend?
If you want to watch it.
Mother. Okay.
Yeah.
So
very rarely am I going to say
quite get
don't watch something. I get it.
Yeah.
I understand
he
what I'm being
refuses
asked.
to engage.
Yeah.
YUNKJunk. Oh, you're here? I'm here. We're all here together. What's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving geek nation? You're currently tuning into the CultPop podcast, episode 60. See, normally he writes like a cute little thing. Anyway, a show where we talk about movies and TV and comics and breaking news and Wilson Fisk's parenting styles and all the other things that scratch your nerdy little itches. We're coming to you live.
Maybe that was the cute thing.
The cutelessness?
Yeah.
From YUNKJunk HQ.
Hey, hi. From YUNKJunk.
A bomb-ass podcast production space in Philadelphia, PA. I miss Len. I'm your holly stuffed host.
Can I have some?
You know what? Yeah, I'm stuffed.
You know what? It is
All year.
currently 19 degrees outside with a wind chill of like negative your face. So
Yeah.
until it warms up, you're holly stuffed.
All right.
Yeah.
You got to keep warm.
Yeah.
Um,
Get that holly up in there.
Johnny Destructo of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex,
Does holly
located
insulate?
at 4327 Main
Good stuff's
Street.
up
Maybe the
inside you.
berries.
Yeah.
It's a comic book store. Come buy my stuff.
So
With
are
me
you doing the
tonight
show?
to talk over me is
Brian.
no.
Brian?
With me tonight
Wait,
to
Brian,
talk.
do you
There
want
it
to
is.
talk over you?
With me
Noel.
also.
My name is Noel.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Brian.
Also in the trusty booth is our less than trusty producer Dylan.
Woo! Don't trust me.
Hey,
I
please.
want that to be a catchphrase.
Yeah.
Just
Woo, don't
walking
trust
through
me.
like a store like, can't be trusted. Well, like,
Feel free to comment,
do
like,
nothing
subscribe.
out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Just walk.
wild card.
I didn't see
email-
that coming.
Sorry.
Email us at
up?
cultpopgo@gmail.com if you're so inclined.
I post in the comments.
We're gonna. That was the intro. I think it went perfectly. We could have done that any better if we tried, which we didn't. The next segment, you guys, is a new
Meme review.
segment. A new segment that I like to call "What You Been Up To This Week."
Huh.
And
Yeah.
my question goes to Dylan. Hey, Dylan, what you been up to this week, huh?
We have been staying very busy over here at YUNKJunk. We got a couple new shows that started this week. We got a new one starting next week. We're still plugging away with the Me Show Mission with your boy Len.
Can we guess the topics of these new shows?
I would love that. Yeah, go for
All
it.
right. So I'm thinking one is dating advice, but only for those who have professions in agriculture.
like
Like only
Advice.
farmers.
They do
only,
not connect people
Yeah.
on this show.
Yeah.
These are for people that are already in relationships.
It's relationship advice and like from callers about how to have a successful relationship while also working in the demanding profession of agriculture.
And it's called Green Fingers.
Terry's listening right now, and I'm afraid he's getting ideas.
I am available for that show. I have a lot to say to people in the field of agriculture about relationships.
Let's just change the
About
show.
their
Change the show.
relationship.
Do
No,
that.
I
We'll
wanted
do
my
that
own
from
show
now on.
about
Whatever
it.
you
We're
plan
promoting-
tonight.
We're promoting other shows on the network, so I think this is worthy endeavor. Do you have any guesses?
Is one of them about empty swimming pools and what goes on in them?
But not. I know you're thinking skating. No.
I would never.
Yeah. I'm talking about concrete, linoleum, tile, heated, unheated.
Do people get down there and have conversations with each other just for the aesthetic?
You know what? You can actually do a remote show in an empty pool.
Yeah. And be super remote. Like, I don't give a shit about
I mean, like this show. Like
Anyway,
we
JD,
just-
what was the other one that we were supposed to promote?
YUNKJunk.
Something about wigs?
What you been up to this week?
Hey, Noel, what you been up to this week, huh?
Oh, I watched, honestly, about an hour ago, I watched this film on Shudder. Shudder is a horror streaming service. Anybody's familiar with it? It's
I am.
wonderful service. It's only like $4 a month and it's awesome.
Okay, you've got two options for Shudder. Quick side note. You can either subscribe through Amazon and get a cheaper version of Shudder, but you are getting the cheapest version of Shudder.
There's a cheap version.
Yeah. I actually used to get it through Amazon, and I found the experience to be so terrible, the user experience and the search function to be so awful that I said, I'm going to pay slightly more for this so that I can have a better experience. So go to Action, subscribe through Shudder. But go on. You were watching a show or a movie?
A movie. On Shudder. Okay. Anyway, yeah, Shudder. I've been following this movie for a little over a year now, because I follow a bunch of people on social media that are involved with the movie. Not personally, just people I enjoy. So it's starring Jonah Ray Rodriguez, who's a comedian and actor I really enjoy. Alex Winter of Bill and Ted and Freaked and The YouTube Effect and all kinds of shit.
Bill and Ted 2.
Bogus
Journey. Also, Bill and Ted Face the Music, and hopefully a Bill and Ted 4 through 12.
Was there a Bill and Ted cartoon? And
there was Bill and Ted? I think maybe just likeness rights being signed off, but I don't think he was actually involved in it in general.
Okay.
But anyway, it's a film called Destroy All Neighbors.
Yes.
Oh. Are you familiar with this?
I have seen it on my Shudder queue. It looks like a horror comedy.
Yes. It is it's a struggling musician who is attempting to finish his 3-long journey of this prog rock album that he cannot put the finishing touches on. Somebody moves in next door to him who is a unrecognizable Alex Winter, who is just full of makeup and a giant face and hands and fat and crazy and sweaty.
I did see the trailer.
I don't know what nationality or ethnicity this character is supposed to be. So let's just say Russian, Irish, Croatian. Because I don't know. It's just like a big facsimile of European dirty man.
Yeah.
Who is I mean, if you drew a caricature of somebody who hasn't bathed and has a handlebar mustache and wears one of those cabbie hats.
Yeah. A Jeff cap.
That's it.
Yeah.
Is he wearing one of those hats in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When his head comes off too. But he is a next door neighbor. He's disgusting and horrible, and he's just constantly making all kinds of crazy noises, drives the musician crazy, accidentally gets killed, and then haunts him for the rest of the movie, as other people in this musician space also come to terrible deaths and then haunt him. So it's this weird creature feature goopy horror comedy that
Had me at goopy.
Ultimately didn't
one of the
love.
last things you said.
It was like Wet Puppets, a wet puppet horror movie.
I was thinking Wet Puppets, but live action.
There's a lot there's a whole sequence where his severed torso is coordinating with his head on the other side of the room, and the intestines are coming out and playing the drums. So
I did see the trailer for this. It looks absurd.
Absurd is a good way to describe it. I love these kinds of movies, and ultimately I dig this flick, but it's more just fine than fun, right?
What about Psycho Gorman? So Psycho Gorman is a Wet Puppets goopy horror comedy that came out several years ago, and I think we both quite enjoy.
Oh yeah, it's a masterpiece.
How does this relate to that?
In how good
if you had to compare the two.
Psycho Gorman goes a little harder in so much as the entire film is a fantastical with it starts with on another planet dimension and crazy shit and just kind of keeps going from there. This is more ordinary world, and you don't know what's real and what's not, and it's all in his head, but it's not, and all kinds of crazy shit. And this one makes a lot less sense. It's a lot of we say this a lot, and I need to come up with a different thing to talk about or a different way to describe it, but it's mostly vibes.
We do say that a lot.
It's mostly vibes. It's not plot progression and acceleration of emotion. It's just mostly a bunch of people who like this type of movie are just making this type of movie.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really, it's a lot of amazing sequences that don't feel like they add up to it much.
Oh, okay.
But I love everyone that's in it so much that I'm it's totally worth a sit.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so it's C+, B- in there.
Okay.
Especially if Gorman is a A-, this is a C-.
All right. Yeah. Still worthwhile. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I like goopy. So that would Destroy All Neighbors, which is on Shudder now. Go check it out if you like goopy things.
Do all the neighbors get destroyed by the end of it? All of them?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Multiple neighbors get destroyed.
Brian,
Hey.
what have you been up to this week? Huh?
I
Yes?
was watching What If season 2.
I've heard of it.
It's I know. It's a TV show set in the MCU multiverse, animated, and it talks about what would have happened if they wanted to tell a different story in the first season, which was one of my major complaints.
What if we wanted to tell this story?
Yes. And in season 2, I felt like they did a really good job of saying, what if this event that happened in the Marvel Universe, MCU, happened differently, and what would come of that, right?
So one of your qualms with season 1,
it was a qualm.
I have trouble understanding exactly what it was.
It's odd.
Explain
it's
it.
particular.
It's mildly arbitrary, but not in like a bad way. Just like
it's like this way is this, and this way this other thing is this.
But they're both what ifs. It's just like whether
they are.
What I think is
then you'll take
what I think you mean, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not.
Yes.
Is your version of what if, or the more accepted in your understanding of what if, one single solitary thing has changed, and then that's that. Last season's what ifs were more of like, here's a whole new thing, or here's a whole new setup.
Yeah, I think typically in Marvel's What If comics, it has been, what if this event played out differently? And it's it's unsavory, it's distasteful to have some other thing be different, right? Like, what if the Fantastic Four all got the same powers, and also for some reason
All fire.
That actually was an awesome issue of What If.
Just them screaming.
They did an issue. It was four short stories.
Yeah.
And each one was what if they had all gotten the same powers.
That's fun.
It was cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. But then do that and then have it be like Bruce Banner turns into Spider-Man. Be like, why is this the case? Right?
Yeah, I see.
However, that was not the case with season 1 of What If, in my opinion. I think the most glaring one was the zombies episode.
Just Marvel zombies.
What if zombies?
Right. As opposed to, there was a moment where zombies might have taken over in the previous Marvel movies.
I see.
And in this universe, they did.
Yeah.
Right. It was just like, hey, what if something totally different happened?
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm starting to track.
Perfect example of what if is.
Mm-hmm.
What if
What
was,
if is?
is
What if is?
the first episode of season 2. What if Yondu took, right, which one was it?
Yeah. What if? What
That's
if
the second or third episode. What if Yondu actually took Peter to Ego?
Yes.
Instead
He
of
took him
Captain.
there. He made a different decision, and things play out very differently. And in this case, like, actually, I guess things are basically the same. In that story, a group of heroes comes together, but they were all they were in that situation in the MCU right at that time. If Peter Quill had come back in whenever it was, the early 90s or whatever, Hank Pym was working
That was
undercover.
cool. I like the little team of Avengers that they had there.
88, like Avengers 1988, I think it was something like that.
Sounds about right.
How did you like the season? We talked about it last week really quickly, and both of us kind of we dug it.
Oh yeah.
Save for one episode, I thought it was 10 times better than season 1.
Me too.
Yeah.
I liked. There was one episode that I was a little, and I have a feeling it's the same one.
Christmas episode?
That's the one.
There
I
you go.
didn't
It's so boring.
dislike it. I didn't dislike it, but I was like, this is the
It's
least
not the
interesting.
It's not the strongest.
Of all, as the board is strong. Of all of them, it's the one that I looked at my watch a couple.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm like, why is this happening?
Yeah, it just seemed boring compared.
But all the other ones, I thought, this is exactly what I'm looking for. This is cool. These stories are cool. They are interesting. What ifs? What if stories? What was it? Even the Kahori one, which was an awesome story.
That was great.
I still felt, that's a what if something different happened with Space Stone.
The Tesseract. Yeah, the Space Stone. The voice actor for Kahori is
Echo.
Is an Echo. Yes, it's Bonnie.
Yeah. Also one of the stars of Reservation Dogs.
I have not seen Reservation Dogs,
That's
although
so
everyone tells me to watch it.
I
haven't gotten to it. It was mostly you.
I know you think of me very highly.
I think you should watch it too.
Ah,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's everyone.
That's double everyone.
Yeah.
Double everyone. Now you
I-
gotta watch it.
I think Dylan said so too on the side. Like you should watch Reservation
Yeah, you
Dogs.
totally should.
Yes,
He
Ah,
said it.
Nice.
But he can't be trusted.
Don't trust me.
But the 1602, I was very excited for.
I haven't watched that one yet.
It was cool.
Oh,
So for anyone who
that's a
doesn't
shame.
know,
Right.
1602, the episode I
Somebody
assume
finished.
is based
too.
on the Neil
Marvel 1602,
Gaiman.
yeah.
Neil Gaiman miniseries
point,
1602.
very different, but still,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean based.
Like the idea of it and some of what ends up happening is like kind of similar, but also very different. A lot of that one had mutants in it and had characters, that wouldn't be in this. But I thought it was great. It was, like I said, very different, but a really cool 1602, and is also a what if, but it's not just, hey, what if we did 1602?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without spoiling, because I had no idea he didn't finish it. What did you think of the finale? There's some complaints about
The last
it.
episode.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought the thing that it turned out was happening. I was like, oh.
That's
Maybe
the-
would have preferred if it was a different thing.
That's the impression I got
I-
from Twitter.
Yeah.
People were like,
I-
great
yeah.
season, didn't love the finale.
Yeah.
I adored it. I thought it was
Yeah.
great because it harkened back to an episode from season 1 that kind of was unresolved in so much as,
They didn't resolve it.
well, no, plot wise, it was resolved in the episode previously,
Yes.
but it did not
Yeah.
change the character.
Right.
The character was still in that place. So people thinking like, oh, you undid all the work you did in season 1. I actually think
didn't
that's
think it was
not true at
undone.
all.
I
Yeah.
didn't think it was undone. I was just like, oh, they did that additional work.
Yeah.
From
From what I understand too, like they developed season 1 and 2 at the same time.
That's what I,
So all 20 of these or 18 of these episodes is kind of like one big old chunk.
Yeah, because one of them was, at least one was supposed to be in last season, and they weren't able
Sakaar.
to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Which I love that
It
episode.
was a great episode.
Yeah.
It was great. What I feel like 1 and 2, the Kahori one, I thought, oh, why are they doing it in subtitles? And then a second language comes in, which I also do not speak.
Yeah.
And they did that in subtitles. I was like, oh, that's really cool. It was a great episode.
You had accurate depiction of language in a fucking Disney Plus Marvel cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that episode.
Yeah, because I did expect like, oh, Europeans are here. Let's go with English
Switch it
now.
up.
No,
Let's
it's
talk.
Spanish. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's absolutely wonderful. Anyway,
All right.
hey,
Anyway, JD,
did you watch a thing with that you were up to underneath the week of this past?
Yeah, I watched. I'm in the middle of watching. I'm in the middle of watching with my lovely wife, The Brothers' Son. So that's Brothers
lovely wine.
S-U-N.
Brothers son.
I was watching it with my lovely wife.
S-U-N.
Called The Brothers' Son. 2024. It's an action
Brothers.
show.
Possessive or plural or brother?
So the surname of this family is Sun, S-U-N.
So
and it's
it
about
involves
the two brothers.
the brothers.
The brothers' son.
I love it when they do that kind of thing. Oh.
When the head of a Taiwanese triad is shot by an assassin, his eldest son, Charles Chairleg's son, heads to Los Angeles to protect his mother and brother, who's been completely sheltered from the truth of his family until now. So this is what got us to watch it was Michelle Yeoh. Michelle Yeoh is in this show, and that's all I need to watch a thing.
You're a yo simp.
I'm a Yeoh simp.
Yo, some.
And so Michelle Yeoh, Sam Lee, Heidi Kwan, Justin Chen, Alice Hukin, and Madison Hu. Yeah, this is an action dramedy that is just awesome. It is such a fun romp of a show. I highly recommend it to anyone who is mildly interested in action dramedies. But there's a lot of really wonderful family stuff in here. It doesn't pull its punches, so to speak.
There was a head in Alone,
Yes.
just a head
Just
in
a head.
an aquarium on the poster.
Yes.
Is there a lot of that type of?
No, there's
stuff?
not. There's
Okay.
no. Actually, that is the first episode, and there is a head that
Okay.
is in a duffel bag that is being used
It's
to
not even
fight
in an
with
aquarium.
at one point.
Oh,
And then
Fish gotta eat.
it's mostly martial arts.
oh,
When the fighting happens, it's mostly martial arts, but then every so often there's like a gross out bit.
okay.
But it's very rare.
Are they? They're all right people. The sons. Or are they bad
it's a-
people?
they're
I mean, they're part of the Taiwanese
mobs.
triad.
Yeah, it's mobsters.
They're all
but you
mobsters.
know how it is. Yeah. All right.
They're
Are they, like-
lovable mobsters.
They're all right.
They're pretty
all right.
lovable.
Like
They're
you get to,
On
you're
a
like,
scale
these
from
guys are all
1
right.
to Soprano.
Sam
Okay.
Lee plays
middle.
the affable young college student who is the brother
Uh-huh.
of Justin Chen, Charles Chairleg, who murdered a bunch of people with a chair leg. So he gets the nickname.
Is that what they
Chairleg.
call him that?
Yeah.
Or he was
It'd be weird
so
if they
pissed that they
didn't-
called
yeah.
him chair leg, but he was like, I'll tell you a chair leg.
Yeah, I'll give you a chair leg.
What if you killed somebody with something very stupid and innocuous, like a rubber chicken?
yeah, that,
Yeah, like-
yeah, rubber chicken.
Rubber chicken.
Charles Rubber Chicken Juan.
Yeah.
Or son.
I mean, you'd have to think you chose this, right? Or was it just whatever
Well, I mean,
was
it's
available?
not like it's a common thing to like, hey, we're only going to give nicknames based on how many people you kill with an object,
Right.
and your nickname's that object. Because if it was already set up, like you would make sure you never kill somebody with a stupid object.
Why are you always
right?
carrying that axe
Yeah.
around?
Yeah,
You're
like, yeah.
I'm trying
I
to
do not
I'm-
ever want to have to kill someone with rubber chicken.
I'm trying to really get that nickname, Axe.
Yeah.
like no. Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, it's wonderful. If you haven't seen Brother Son, which I no one seems to be talking about this
It
show,
only came out last
It
week.
just came out.
it's wonderful. I highly recommend the whole thing. We've been watching as much as we can per evening. And yeah, it's great. Really, really fun. I was hoping for some Michelle Yeoh martial arts, but she's just the matriarch. Like she's badass in
How
her
far
own
in are you?
right.
How far in are you?
4 episodes. Like 2 more left.
Oh.
Oh, 5. But yeah, it's wonderful.
Nice.
Really, really funny. Really, the martial arts is wonderful. Yeah.
Apropos of nothing, I'm going to say we started watching. My wife has never seen The Newsroom. We talked about this the other night. Are you familiar with Aaron Sorkin's The Newsroom?
I'm aware of its existence.
It's it's so fucking quaint. Like it's a universe that doesn't exist.
Where
Where
people
did it seem
care
to
about
at the time, or
truth.
at the time, I think at the time it seemed it mattered.
this is how the
Like
news
like
could be.
a
Was this pre-Trump?
yes.
yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
It came out in 2011, 2012, 2012 to 2015. 3 seasons. Yeah, it should be shown to like 8th graders in a civics class to like, this is how it's supposed to work, everyone, and it never will again.
Huh.
Just like broadcasters with credentials.
Mhm.
It's a wonderful show. I love
Yeah.
The Newsroom. I've really Sushan had gone to bed one night and I couldn't sleep, so I was like, I have no idea what this is, but I saw not Bill Pullman.
Jeff Bridges.
I do this
No.
every time.
No.
Daniels.
Jeff Daniels. I do this every time. Jeff Daniels, and I was like, I wonder what this is.
Bridge Pullman.
And I literally just
Pullman.
watched
He works on a bridge.
the intro where he has his like diatribe that he goes on
Yeah.
like a talk show, and that was as soon as I saw that I was in.
Is that the What's the Best Country?
Yes.
I've seen that.
I love that bit.
Yeah,
I watch
like,
it every time it's available.
The
Yeah.
plot of the show is that bit goes viral.
Oh,
And-
that begins the whole
That's the
show.
beginning
oh,
of
I
the
didn't know
show.
that.
That's the
Oh,
beginning of the
okay.
show. Like he's like a Jay Leno of
Milk toast.
doesn't offend anyone kind of 24-hour news
Mm.
show guy, and he has an outburst, and it just like descends / escalates from there.
He took medication because he was going on a flight or something, and so he basically blacks out and just tells the truth for once in his life. And yeah, and then the whole rest of the show is the activities of the newsroom trying to bring news and facts to people. It's
Interesting.
wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know. Just everyone watch a 10-year-old show. It's
Was
great.
that around when Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip came out? Because they did the same.
Studio 60 was right before,
Oh yeah.
and that's also
Interesting how
Aaron
that
Sorkin.
happens.
Yeah. I mean,
I forgot that was
only
Aaron
got,
Sorkin.
it only got 1 season. I think the
Oh, that
difference.
was Aaron Sorkin?
Yeah,
I never
so-
watched it because 30 Rock happened, and I was like, well, I'm just going to watch that one instead.
Very,
I mean,
very different shows, both excellent.
Yeah, wildly
Yeah.
different. But I think that so like when you had the West Wing and Newsroom and like it's altruistic and unrealistic
Hokey,
and
yeah.
hokey, but
Sports Night also.
Sports Night
I've
also.
Great
never
show.
watched Sports Night.
I watched
Sports
it, and
Night's
it's
awesome.
about sports, and I watched it. It was good.
It's barely about sports.
I know, but I watched it.
Like they just talk about sport.
Yeah, they
I
watch it
watched
always,
Friday
and
Night
they-
Lights,
Really?
which is half about
Football.
sports. Yeah.
Sorkin, I think, works the best when things feel like they matter.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Yeah.
world events, politics.
Tense
But
conversation.
when you're doing like, but can they pull off Saturday Night Live? It has a
Doesn't
little bit
have the
less of an
gravitas?
impact. Yeah,
that was people's deal with it, but
the show was
yeah,
incredibly charming and really fun to
Yeah,
watch. It just was like Yeah, it's not the West Wing. Fucking relax.
And it talked about some cool stuff, right? They had serious conversations
I would like to go back
About
and
life.
revisit that.
about life.
Where would it
and
be streaming?
things.
Somebody want to look it up?
I think it was an NBC show, if I recall.
Yeah, but
If only we had a producer.
Dylan,
I'll look it up.
Produce.
I summon the air date and
No, he's just going to give us lies.
What am I looking up? What am I looking up?
I
Studio
forgot.
60 on the
Studio
Sunset
60 on the
Strip.
Sunset Strip. Where is it streaming? What year did it come out?
While he's doing that,
Let's continue with the show.
let's.
Not available anywhere.
Oh.
You got to pay for it on Prime or YouTube or Google or blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Like this.
Thank you, Dylan.
One season, nowhere. I had it on DVD, but I loaned it out to so many people and they took it away.
What a jerk. Hey, let's talk about our main topic. You ready for that, Brian?
Studio
Yes.
60, episode 2.
Ah,
to the Studio
that was the
60
one. So
Rewatch
from
podcast.
what I remember, which is
It
not
was-
much, Amanda Peet at that point
Oh.
was becoming further into her role in the show.
So Amanda
Yeah.
P was the one of the main?
She was one of the main
Yeah.
characters.
Oh, she
Yeah,
disappeared, huh?
and then
She was in the show.
I mean, she's
Bradley
gone. Bradley Cooper?
no,
No.
the other
Bradley Foreskin.
Whitford.
Whitford,
Bradley
Whitford.
Foreskin, you're thinking of someone, he was in
You know, in
Accounting.
hindsight, the way that he woos her, or it's a little too forward.
I do
and
not
you should-
remember the way.
Wait.
He
Bradley-
bombards her with like, he doesn't take no for an answer,
Oh.
but it's done in like the early aughts, 90s, like cute way
Right.
of being
If
forceful.
you're into
and
it,
you're
kind
like,
of, then it's, yeah.
that probably wouldn't fly.
Doesn't age as well.
Yeah.
I do not remember that part. May I say this joke that recurs to me all the time. There's a will they won't they thing with Matthew Perry's character and the star of the show.
Olsen.
And yes, and a baseball player gives her a bat and it's got his phone number written on it. And he's like, "You got his phone number?" She's like, "I thought that was his uniform number." Like, you thought his uniform number was 496,382.
10 digits, you fucking idiot.
That's a good bit.
Yeah. So watch the show.
I would love to.
Yeah, pay for it.
I'm not allowed. Echo season 1 dropped. I don't know. Was that 2 weeks now at this point? On Disney Plus and also Hulu. It's directed by Sidney Freeland, starring Alekwa Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, Devery Jacobs, Cody Lightning, and Chaske Spencer.
Yeah.
Maya Lopez's ruthless behavior in New York City catches up with her in her hometown. She must face her past, reconnect with her Native American roots, and embrace the meaning of family and community.
It was going to be Christmas.
No. All right.
Non-spoiler.
Oh,
Thoughts?
yes. That's, what he said.
Okay.
Brian,
Hey.
non-spoiler thoughts.
Farts.
I was not particularly looking forward to this show, but I wasn't not looking. You know, I was
I
kind of like,
understand.
it's Echo, street level character that I'm not particularly.
Shut up.
All right.
Did you watch the Netflix shows
Uh-huh.
like
Enough.
Daredevil and etc.? Did you watch those Netflix shows?
No.
No, none of
I
them.
really should have.
Wow.
And I can't believe that I didn't, right?
Did you
Me,
watch?
of all
Did
people.
you watch Hawkeye?
Yes.
That led into this.
It led into.
Wonderful. Go for it.
Did not really get into it. This
Hawkeye.
show.
Oh, this show.
I thought a lot of the acting was, if not all the acting, was really good. I liked that. They had some cool action sequences. I thought it was boring, this show. And from the opening half hour of previously on Echo through the remainder of the episodes, it did get better after that. But, I was like, wow, what is going on here? When are they going to get to it?
Yeah.
What are the stakes? What is her journey? Is there a powers thing happening? Is there not? How is doing this accomplishing the goal that she tells you she has? So yeah, I was not really into it. And I think that I was like, oh, maybe this is why this was released all at once. Because if they just aired it weekly,
Right.
I wondered if people would come back.
Drop
But
off, yeah.
from what I understand, 1 or up to 2 of you guys liked it. So maybe that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Maybe had they aired it weekly, people would have been into it. So that was my non-spoilery.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
No.
Why don't you go first?
Oh, second. All right.
Before me.
I'm kidding. I thought it was
Romantical sons of bitch.
pretty good.
Pretty
I thought
good.
it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed our the whole experience up until the finale.
Mm-hmm.
I actually quite liked her a bit. I liked all of the ancillary characters. I liked Biscuits.
Oh, he was cool.
I like seeing. Are we gonna say who shows up? No, we'll wait for. I like the special guest star that shows up in the first episode.
Oh, okay.
And I guess he's on the poster, so I love that Kingpin showed up.
Oh, that special guest.
No, different special guest.
Oh. Wait, when you say up, I liked it up until the final episode.
Yes.
Do you mean including through the? We all heard something strange. You probably couldn't hear it, but
that's why we all looked
paused and
weird.
looked around for a minute.
Very smooth.
Yes. Hey, we all heard something strange.
Very smooth.
That much smoother. Thank you.
You might too one day. Let us know.
What's your question?
My question is, did you enjoy it up through the finale, the end of the finale, or was that where you stopped enjoying it?
About halfway through the finale,
Okay.
I started asking questions.
It was some
and
like,
being
why is this going on?
yeah,
What-
I didn't know we were going to do this.
was
all right.
that a journey you were on?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
It should have been. It was a cool journey.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed the whole show up until the halfway through the finale. And then it sort of lost me a little bit, but it didn't lose me in such a way that I checked out.
No.
I just was like, oh, this isn't, it felt a little anticlimactic.
But you're still checked in.
I checked in.
Yeah.
No.
I almost loved it. I liked it a
Great.
lot.
All right.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was I just really liked it a lot. I love her. I love Alakwa Cox. She is so fucking good in this show. I will just watch her do anything. And I like the life on the reservation. I liked having to learn how things work. I liked the interaction between all these people. I absolutely loved their change of her power set from the comics.
So,
Loved
we're
it.
not going to spoil that yet.
I mean, it's
Okay,
not a spoiler. They just
no, I'm
changed.
just saying-
She's not.
to discuss it further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I absolutely love how they, with narrative in mind, made her make more sense from the perspective of a Native American Indigenous person.
Yeah.
Loved it. I loved all of that. I know you didn't care for the finale too much. I was down.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed all of it. There's some pacing issues. There's some editing issues. They have trouble establishing the stakes for a couple of the middle episodes, but I was just totally into these characters. Like, it's not only just, first of all, we should all protect Biscuits with our lives. But it's not just Biscuits. It's also the whole first sequence of her family dynamic. Her father and her mother and her cousin / sister, the grandmother, all of these generations that kind of live and exist in this one space, and how much it changes and doesn't change. I just loved it. I really loved all of this stuff, and then every once in a while there was a pretty good action sequence.
Yeah.
So I was fine with just watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, the cast, the cast of side characters, family characters, in the same way that, did you see Blue Beetle?
Yes.
Yeah. The way I love the interactions of the family in Blue Beetle, I think a lot of that was here as well. Like Chula and Scully, the elderly,
Graham
grown
Greene?
apart.
Yeah, Graham Greene, the actor.
Yeah, Graham Greene and Tonto Cardinal. Watching them reconnect after who knows how long of kind of like having fizzled out and been on the outs a little bit, watching them come back together, I absolutely loved it. I love watching them.
Is he Echo's grandfather?
No,
No. They were together.
grandmother's ex-boyfriend.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And I also don't know who Bonnie belongs to.
She's somebody's child. Yes.
Yeah.
Like
We never
they
meet-
are related in some way.
Yeah, we
They're
never meet
cousins. That's
Chula's
true.
other daughter or son that had Bonnie.
And it wasn't
'Cause they-
her uncle.
because they have a conversation about how we're cousins and
They do.
like, no, we're sisters. Like, we're cousins, you idiot. Like, no, we're sisters. So like,
That's true.
they're related. I just have no idea how.
I believe also the terms cousin and sisters may mean something slightly different in that community.
Interesting.
I think I don't know a lot about this, but I think on Reservation Dogs, they do that. They'll like refer to people as uncle or cousin. Not in the same genetic relationship that we might.
Still don't know who she belongs to.
No, I have no idea.
we
Does not come up.
we don't meet any kind of like other
Yeah.
family. Yeah.
So
But they
of
all
these,
call her grandma. Yeah.
oh yeah. A lot of these actors are also in Reservation
Yeah.
Dogs and in Rutherford Falls, which has
I've never-
A lot of them were also in Killers of the Flower Moon, which I attempted to watch most of.
Yes. And I wonder why that is. And it's probably not
it's because the pool
good.
of
exactly
native
They're all
actors is very
excellent.
shallow right now.
right.
There are only very few of prominence and or like
Right. And I would assume that is because the people who want to become actors from that community have a very difficult time
we're
finding success.
we're
Yeah.
culturally in the first phases of representation actually begetting more representation. So the talent pool of available, unless they just want to do a bunch of talent searches on reservations across the country, is usually
Yeah.
smaller.
Yeah.
So they're
Makes
all
sense.
excellent actors,
Oh, yeah.
these actors. And whenever her dad, I really like, he's not in a lot of this show, but
San McLarnon,
Yeah, he's
William
not
Lopez.
know anybody's name.
yes.
That's the guy.
Her
He's
dad.
great. He's
Yeah.
great. Great face
He's great.
too. What a face.
He does very
Love that face.
Yes, and also Bonnie is really
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
You guys should all check out Reservation.
I think the only of them all, Alakwa Cox is the only one that they like. This is her first thing ever.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
She's killing it. All right. So I recommend the show.
Oh, I absolutely recommend the show. It is a really good sit. It's just 5 episodes. It's clean. It's fast.
Oh, I love
Watch
that it was
it in
5
chunks.
episodes. Yeah. A lot of shows should follow this format more. I think a lot of the Netflix shows overstayed their welcome for me, and they could have done with a shorter season. Do you recommend?
If you want to watch it.
Motherfucker. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Very rarely am I going to say
quite get
don't
the-
watch something. I get it. I understand what I'm being
refuses
asked.
to engage.
Yeah,
Basically.
That's fine.
engaging.
So
Not the way you want.
So, spoiler alert, starting now, we're going to be spoiling Echo, the Disney Plus TV show. So, get out of here if you haven't seen it. Although, I would say spoilers aren't that crazy for this show. I don't think it's going to ruin your
Not really.
experience.
You
if we
should
spoil it
stay.
for you.
Unless you really don't like spoilers.
Yeah. Oh, Sam
Good guys win.
said, I love the
They
show.
love it. They did.
Good guys win.
And,
in a cool way.
Robert Monroe Jr. said, what's up, Cult Poppers? Well, Robert,
Buddy.
we've been telling you what's up. Hopefully, you've been paying attention.
40 minutes
What's up
now,
with
my
you?
dude.
All right.
Hey.
There were you had trouble
Mhm.
with the show. Can you express them a little bit more in depth now that we've gotten the spoilers?
With eloquence.
Oh, eloquence.
Gravitas.
Eloquence.
Didn't like.
Perfect.
Yeah.
No.
So
Nailed it.
anyway, what is it? I felt like so
You're like, oh, is this the journey she's on? And blah blah blah. And
that in particular, the thing at the end where she has to re-embrace her family and all that stuff. Like, yeah, they did talk about how she was just estranged from her family. Not much was done with that during the course of the show. I forget exactly.
I think I'm going to push back a little bit on that.
The thing I was really, I mean, now that I'm talking about it, I think the journey part that I really thought was out of left field was the healer thing. I have to
Oh, her
leave this
mother?
path of violence and be, what I've always been meant to be as a healer,
Mm.
and I have to do that instead. And I really liked the resolution with Kingpin, which he did. I was like, this could have been a big part of this show.
Yeah.
Is her like flashing back to these
Well,
people that I'm like, what's going on with this?
I
Could have been that.
I partially agree with that. But I also disagree because it was meant to be an episode 5 reveal. Because episode 4 is when she finally has a conversation with her mother or with her grandmother.
Yes.
Tula.
And her grandmother,
Yes.
because in the first episode, they Graham Greene's character, her boyfriend, mentions she seems a little off. Have you been talking with the spirits? Are they telling you something?
Yeah.
It's a throwaway line, and then you also see the bird, the harbinger, the bird.
Yes.
And a couple times throughout the show, when the healer thing of her mother is finally introduced in episode 5, we got the groundwork that you think doesn't matter. But then her grandmother telling her your lineage is traced, your specific lineage is traced back all the way to the very first person, and we're able to trace it, and these properties and the women in your bloodline and blah blah blah, and then the reveal of her mother actually being able to fucking do it.
Yes.
I did think that it built the blocks. it didn't feel out of left field for me. If anything, when that happened in the episode, we were like, what the fuck? Oh, it's literal. Like,
yeah. I mean, I assumed the whole time, I'm like, does she have powers or not have powers?
Right.
What's happening
I was
here?
wondering that myself, and I actually tweeted about it, and then someone was like, you idiot. So I had said,
that was
so
cool.
are they just skipping her power set? Like,
Some powers.
I had completely forgotten that Echo's original comic book ability was to echo the
fighting style.
the fighting style of
Right.
whoever she's up against. She has photographic reflexes just like Taskmaster.
Forgot about that too.
Right?
Yeah.
And somebody was like,
Been a long
well,
time.
my dude, they already have a Taskmaster in the MCU, and it's also a woman. So it would just be another woman with the same exact powers. And I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot that.
I think that person's response to you is limited because there's 5 super soldiers. That doesn't really matter.
Sure,
I think
but
it's just
to make her feel like her own character. I understand.
I also disagree with that. I think it was from jump, and actually there's a comment in there. Sam C says, I watched some making of videos and really appreciate that they attempted to capture the culture of the Choctaw Nation. That's not something our movies and TV shows have done in the past. They took the origin of her having Native ancestry and reverse engineered from the name Echo into this. Not, we already got a mimic, so we can't do a mimic. We already got I don't think it was that simple from the person that responded to you in that way.
No,
I think it was a lot more intentional.
Yeah, it's cooler. It's vibes with the story that they wanted to tell. I guess
it's all hearsay, but I would assume that the conversation went, here's her power set. I don't think we're going to do that again. What else can we do? And then we reverse engineer the Echo name through her, reverberating down through her ancestors. Yeah, which is I like what they did with it. I thought it was really cool. But I'm sorry, go on.
What was I saying?
I don't know.
All right. No, just like what she's got these powers, which seem cool.
Yeah.
The first woman is holding up the cave, and they get out. Also, she's descended directly. The bloodline is from the first Choctaw woman, like untold years ago. I would assume all of them are descended from her in some capacity. Her cousin is. We're not that distantly related. Any human.
It's like a genetic dispensation. Like
if you're worthy of it, if that's your deal.
It's just like how certain chronic illnesses skip generations. It's not necessarily everyone in your bloodline is fucked or can do a thing. It's just
that's true. But like what were her abilities? Does she have some kind of energy powers or something? Right. Or she can do anything that any of these women can do that she's descended from.
They don't really tell
Which
you.
would also kind of be like her original power set, now that I think about it.
I meant to go back and look it up. Her mother, the scene that she has with her mother, the vision that she has with her mother, I really liked.
I loved it.
Her mother, in a way, kind of explains the abilities. It's like 3 types of abilities based, and then we throughout the show we were illustrated it in different time periods with different ancestors of hers.
Healing, cunning, and
throwing stuff. The woman.
But they said,
I said it flippantly, but she was good at that.
Yeah, they said something specific.
she was cunning, right?
I think she was cunning.
Cunning was the.
She didn't do anything particularly cunning, but they did say that she was cunning.
I thought that too. She just showed up and killed a bunch of dudes.
She was good at that, which would be also a useful thing.
Cunning? I don't know.
Like I cunninged you into getting shot when I jumped out from behind this tree.
I thought something similar, but I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It was metaphorically explained. Like it wasn't just like, by the way, you have this ability. It's just being able to, in the moment, being able to push past yourself with these specific types of abilities. It's not something that she could literally just be like, I'm strong now. Like it's a heightened thing.
But she can also bring, at least it did that one time, bring Fisk into, this healing realm.
In his head.
I thought was an excellent.
I love that scene.
Yeah,
and I kind of wanted more out of it. As I was watching it, I was like getting verklempt.
See, I think it could have been. That's another thing that could have been a lot more leading up to this in the show, where she's like kind of maybe battling with that in herself instead of just not at all seeming to want to soften or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think the for expectations that were absolutely nowhere, I think the creative team was, I think her name is Sydney Friedland, a native woman, just knocked this show out of the park. I was very happy with it.
Yeah. I had a couple likes and dislikes.
what-
I love. Okay, so now we can talk about
Here we go.
Daredevil.
He shows up.
I love that
For a little
Daredevil showed up. I was very happy to see him. I was hoping for more Daredevil because she is mostly a Daredevil character. Like she showed up
But
as
then
a
she's,
Daredevil foil.
with the X-Men, right?
Oh, she wound up with the Avengers.
The Avengers.
Yeah.
Right. She was the Phoenix. That's why I was thinking
She
X-Men.
was one of the hosts of the Phoenix.
One of the hosts of the Phoenix.
So I love seeing Daredevil. I like the choreography for that fight. There's one that people keep sharing.
Yeah, like it's
Where-
a bad move. I'm like,
Like it's a
that's
bad move, and I'm like, that
awesome.
move was gnarly. You guys are not looking at it.
What was the bad? What was the bad move?
She's ready for a kick and pauses because he goes to duck it,
Mhm.
and then she actually executes it when he gets back up.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
He's
clever.
Like, it's incredibly clever.
it's
It's
a great.
really
She
cool.
grabs her
Yeah.
bad leg, her
Right.
what do you call it? Her prosthetic,
Yes.
and is holding onto it, and then whacks him, and
Right.
then he goes to punch her twice. And people are taking it as that it's bad choreography and the hits aren't looking like they're connecting, but she's literally dodging them. She's doing this, and so he's missing her. But people are upset because they think it looks like bad choreography. I'm like, no, it's just going so fast, and they didn't slow-mo it down to show. Look, we see that he's not hitting her.
I mean, there are people out there, I think, unfortunately, that are watching it to find
that lens.
things
Yeah.
like, what is something that I can conceivably look at in this perspective and say something angry or click-gettingly or incendiarily?
Click-gettingly, yeah.
I believe it's clickbait.
Yes,
Clickbaity.
clickbaitingly. And,
Click-gettingly is
you know, and there's definitely times
it's clicky.
but, you know, people do that sometimes, even if they're not the worst of the worst, and they're, you know, you're just like, I'm
This thing.
gonna everything about this, I'm gonna find a way to argue against it.
Yeah.
So they're looking at it and they're like, there's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's dumb.
You know, you want to keep your legs.
Biscuits.
it was fun.
Biscuits is on my list of loves.
That's
I love
Goddamn's
biscuits.
character.
And
I love the whole train sequence, and I loved Biscuit's like insertion in it.
that was fun. Yeah.
It was fun. The whole time I'm like, what if he hits something? You know, like there'd be like a rock there. This is not a road.
And he's such a gullible little nerd.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just so charming. And then also the change of the powers, like you said earlier. I really liked how they
Yeah,
done that.
I very much love that, and I did love the outfit at the end too.
Oh, see,
It was cool.
I
And then when
wasn't taken with the outfit. I thought it looked a little boring, a
about-
little bulky.
What about when she took it off to reveal the second outfit underneath the
Yeah.
costume, which I
Yeah,
thought
it was
an
like
odd,
it was a normal dress, but then like
but it was like a costume dress. It was a
when
superhero
I-
outfit dress.
When I say dress,
yeah,
the top part is just
Right.
like the powwow dressing.
Yeah.
and she takes it off.
Takes
for
it off,
the
and it has
fight
her
stuff.
family symbols on it, and
So did the dress,
family
though.
Yeah, the underneath is
It all has
is the speed suit.
Yeah.
But the top
just
part
liked-
is just basically for the powwow that was outside because they were at a celebration.
It's more in line with the cultural aspect of what's happening, but I just really liked her really sleek kind of lycra outfit that she had on the day before.
the earlier
That
one.
was cool.
Yeah, I thought that
and
was like, I
also
don't even know where
had-
she got it, but it was smooth as
She
shit.
was just in it, and I'm like, I guess that's her costume because it
Yeah.
had that symbol on it too,
Yeah,
which her
that's it.
jacket
And
also had, which is a cool
I
jacket.
was going to say that's like I think her family symbol because her dad had the tattoo on his neck.
So I think that all comes, the visualization of those little triangles are all from the David Mack artwork that he did.
Yes, I
I
remember those.
love, that's
cool.
sort of like a little flourish that he would put into the artwork.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was actual meaning behind it, but I like that they took those elements from the original artwork and applied it to the jacket.
It's been on her in the comics on her costume for a long time now.
Before that meaning,
yeah.
like a cultural meaning to the Choctaw
cultural
people.
meaning, yes, yeah.
And the only time that they incorporated the hand, because in the comics she has a hand on her face, a paint hand, is her when her dad is dying and he touches her face, so there's like a blood palm.
You know what else I saw though? When she's talking to her mother and they she's having the spirit conversation, and then they go to back into the car where the accident happened.
Mhm.
And when she says the word echo, she does this. So I don't know if the ASL for echo is like this near the face, but that also sort of mimics that on the costume.
I think
and
it had
then-
layers that, yeah. were
Oh,
impressive.
Sam C says, I love when Marvel doesn't over-explain origin story of powers to me. I'm not familiar with the comics, so it isn't that deep for me. Oh, yeah.
What are you trying to say? It's not that deep.
And this one wasn't like the comics anyway. This is completely unrelated too. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway,
You know what's funny is when Fisk is shot in the eye. It's very.
that was hilarious.
I know, right? I was rolling. Eye shot.
Gun
That's what I-
violence.
Yeah.
Don't trust me.
And it was so much. It's the kind of thing that in the comics, I would hardly think twice about.
Yeah.
But in it's
The
like,
real life
they found
context.
and they got him and they put him in this experimental thing and he's fine. And he clearly had an experimental thing here.
Yeah,
But I still was like, he survived for 1 second after getting shot, like for anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
I'm assuming it went here, right?
Like, yeah, maybe she kind of like pulled it a little.
Every time that happens in movies, my first impulse is like, why? But then I have read stories about like people try and shoot themselves in the head, but the bullet actually rolls around the skull or through their jaw.
So,
like it happens.
My
It's just
grandfather
wild.
actually was shot in the eye. He did have his eye shot out in World War II, and he had a glass eye. He said he didn't even feel it because it cut the nerve immediately, and he was looking down and he saw blood dripping on this map, and he was like, "Oh, it's my." He realized it was his eye, right?
Shit.
Yeah, he was in Merrill's Marauders in World War II. They made a movie out of it, and there's a guy with an eye patch on the cover, and they would all say like, "Oh, Sid, it's you," And I mean,
funny.
it's not.
Yeah,
But yeah. So it was he was in that, and he got his eye shot out, and but I don't think it was point blank like this, like this was, but he got a Purple Heart. He left.
Yeah,
Army.
right on. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I also like the details of, because both of us were like, this dude has this niece and refuses to learn ASL. Like, really?
Yeah. It seems kind of Wilson Fisk-ish, though.
Well, I mean, she
right?
called him out on it. That was a plot
Well,
point.
that was before
Yeah.
that he was
Yeah.
called out on it. We were going, what is, but so
Yeah.
I was not sure how to go with it. I'm like, it feels like Wilson Fisk at the height of his, powers, where he's like, I don't even have to bother with this.
Right, I can get
But
someone.
it also feels like that's a lot of information being doled out, which they also touch in the show. But it also seems like something that he wouldn't want to have to rely on someone else to do
Right.
this.
Right.
He seems like a really hands-on
Right.
dude.
Like even if he had
Killed the
someone,
interpreters.
that's
Right,
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after like years, like who was
Yeah.
she talking to?
Right.
But I feel like you could also say the Kingpin is someone who, even if somebody is working for him, he would learn sign language just so that he's not out of the loop in any
Yeah,
way.
absolutely,
Or,
yeah.
like that kind of
He
thing.
wouldn't be caught unawares with any of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I
Although-
do like
That
the-
thing was cool. Also weird that it's like she had it for conversations with him and then it's gone. I thought they were going to use that
the whole
to-
time. Yeah.
right to allow her to interact with people. And
Well-
I even thought that was an unusual choice to, tell a story about somebody in those circumstances and then create a way for them not to be in those circumstances, but not necessarily a bad choice. And I was just surprised that it was in and out so quickly.
No, I think it aligns with her.
Oh,
He
it's
doesn't-
totally
yeah.
the kind of thing
I'm like,
the
yeah, this-
character
this-
would do.
yeah.
Just to introduce it at all from a storytelling perspective. But it may be just something that he could give her that she could get rid of. Yeah.
I think it was the perfect amount of Daredevil.
Yeah.
Just one scene,
Yeah.
shared world. I'm out. Like I think I would have hated it if it was like another episode and like, what's Daredevil doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because him
He was breaking up the thing that she was a part of. That's cool.
right.
Period.
And like that kind of how you would see him if it's not a Daredevil story
yeah.
kind of thing. Like that old Spirit comic, that famous Will Eisner Spirit comic strip that so there's this whole story where there's this guy who is not even the main character in his own life. It's like you're seeing a story about him, but the Spirit story is playing out in the background of his life. And it's really interesting and I think is like extremely notable among many other
Never
Will
heard of
Eisner
I've never
stuff.
heard of it. Is it? I'm sorry.
It's
Is it like
notable. You have not noted it.
is it a whole comic book issue or?
I think it may be like a
Like a story?
golden age kind of thing, so it might be pretty short. I don't
that's
think it's
great.
like a couple of pages.
I love
maybe,
stuff like
but
that though,
It's really cool. It's just it's a very experimental thing,
especially back then.
right?
Yeah.
And saying it now, I read it so many years ago, and I might have just assumed it was from the early Spirit. It could have been from because as Len told us a a while ago. He continued working for like decades,
Yeah.
but I think it was older.
Right on.
Anyway, that's kind of what Daredevil was like.
He's popping in.
Oh, he's
also
this is it. Or the book Soon I Will Be Invincible. Highly recommend. Superhero novel.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
what I dug about and also too, it wasn't just an empty cameo, because her being able to go toe to toe with him gets her promoted.
Right.
So they even made it a part of the specific narrative that like propelled the character. It wasn't just fluff, even though it was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was cool fluff.
very cool.
Yeah.
Does it make you want to go back and rewatch Hawkeye?
I did rewatch Hawkeye like a month ago. A couple weeks ago.
We'll go to hell. Makes me want to rewatch Hawkeye. I'm going to do it.
Okay.
She's great in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might watch Daredevil.
You should watch Daredevil.
Especially
it is
now that it's
You've never seen it.
continuity.
It's like the best Marvel show ever.
That's what I've heard.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Highly recommend.
Hey, how about that after credits thing? It was
Yeah.
like-
What do you think happened with Fisk? So I think that.
Oh, right.
So to me, it's not unlike what happened in comics with
J. Jonah, or I mean,
Norman Osborn. His sins were taken from him, but he still is aware of all of them.
Yeah.
So it's a clean slate, but not really. So I do think that they kind of set up a mayoral race and a potential for him to like kind of get in
the
there.
way they were in dialogue saying Wilson Fisk should run for mayor. You know, we need a bare knuckle brawler.
Yeah, some
like
guy
a
in
guy
a white
listening
suit.
right now.
Someone who may or may
Maybe
not survive an eye damage.
Incredible.
Kind of vista.
I'm going to push past the cynicism of that
All right.
and actually talk about I like the idea that maybe he thinks that is how he's going to help, because
See, I
now
didn't
he
take
is in
that.
a different headspace
Yeah.
or wants to be in a
interesting.
different headspace,
Because one of my problems
because he
with
will
the-
still screw up and it will still be terrible for a lot of people because he's just
And he'll still be the way that he, you know, like just
Yeah.
the fact that they said this bare knuckle brawler shit, you know, it's like he's still going to be Wilson Fisk if he's trying to do
I'm
good.
doing
he's
good,
still,
but my
like,
way,
he's
and
Lex
it's still
Luthor
terrible.
style.
Exactly.
Yeah. See,
That's
I
what-
didn't take it that way. Because one of my qualms with the finale is like, great, they had that moment inside his
And then
head,
nothing changed.
but then what did it accomplish? What was she trying to accomplish? The way I took it is she was trying to accomplish something. He refused it. He freaked out and didn't participate. Right? She said, "All you have to do is let go," and he did not let go.
But
and
he
then
said,
he
what
decides-
did you do to me?
Yeah,
I
Right?
think
Well,
I think it
he
was done.
To me, that felt like, how did you get in my head? What was that?
I think
What did you just do to me?
I
Not
gotcha.
what has been done
How
to
have
me.
I been changed? What have you
Yeah,
wrought?
I think it's I think
and
it's
then
both.
can
I
I-
think it's between the two of you.
And then I didn't think that him wanting to be mayor was him trying to be changed for good. I thought it was just, oh great, I can control more things if I'm the mayor.
That's what I thought too. Was like, I'm going to be mayor. That'll be cool.
But that would track if
Yeah.
I
I
just
think it's
didn't
between
pick
the
that
two.
up.
also
Yeah.
check.
I think he did. There is a change, not one that he could perceive,
Yeah.
and I could do that job well and do good. Like
Wait,
it's,
he was the mayor in the comics, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
still
just
is.
no.
Still is.
Luke Cage's.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Devil's Reign. Yeah. Which I guess
Cage
they're
is
gonna
now
do.
the mayor.
Luke Cage
So
is the
J.
mayor.
Jonah Jameson, Wilson Fisk, and Luke Cage have all been the mayor.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, only mayors that have their own comic books.
Yeah. Their strongest
They're all,
platform.
they're all main. They're all main characters. It's Luke Cage. I guess they're doing Devil's Reign in the shows now. Like we've got Born Again next,
Oh,
and yeah. I guess they're just gonna do Devil's Reign.
yeah, maybe we'll see. Well, anyway, let us know what you thought of Echo.
Or anything else.
Or literally anything.
Yeah.
We're very lonely. Email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com or tweet at us at cultpopgo. Brian, Noel, you guys are great. We're going to talk at you later. Bye.
I gotcha.
YUNKJunk.
Don't forget to listen to Fresh Floppies.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
YUNKJunk!